The Great Age of Empires 2 Wonder Mystery. Today, Detective Empires is on the case to uncover the reason behind the British and the Frank wonders being the way they are. With some new evidence coming to light, and by digging through the old Age of Empires 2 alphas, we may be able to piece together this rather interesting mystery. What's wrong with the wonders, you may be wondering? Well, the Frank wonder and the British wonder don't make sense. First, the British wonder, Ark Cathedral. This is one of the oldest cathedrals in Europe and built by the order of Charlemagne, and even where the dude is buried. You'll find his throne in the Western Gallery, and then for the next 600 years, 31 German kings ascended to this throne after their coronation. It all sounds very French and German to me, and not particularly British at all. Why would this wonder be in the game for the British? We do have our own cathedrals, you know. Then there's the question of the Frankish wonder, a topic of heated debate for years. "It's Chartres Cathedral," they cried. No, it's not. It's St. Vitus Cathedral in Prague. And to save the argument, the devs of the game have confirmed this. And I made a Facebook post about this over 2 years ago highlighting the differences. The discussion of what the Frank wonder is not up for debate, but the question is, why is a cathedral in Prague their wonder and not one of the many great cathedrals that can be found in France? The two countries had very little to do with each other during the AoE2 time period. Fortunately, I believe that all of this can be explained. Taking a look at the very first AoE2 alpha of the game reveals something interesting. At this stage, there were no graphics in place for the wonders at all, but there were placeholders. Now in Age of Empires 1, there were only 4 wonders in the game, and a 5th with DLC. These wonders were shared across civilizations, and it seems like the same idea was planned for AoE 2. There are 4 placeholders, one for West and one for East Europe, a placeholder for Arab civs, and one for Eastern civs. The British and the Franks shared a Western European wonder, while the Goths and the Teutons had an East European placeholder. By the time the second alpha came around, the Ark Cathedral graphic was added into the game. This wonder was now being used for both the British and the Franks. The Chinese and the Japanese both shared the Temple of Heaven, and the Byzantines, Persians and Saracens shared the Selimi Mosque. Now it starts to make a little sense. The Ark Cathedral could conceivably be used as the Frank wonder, and we do see the building during the Joan of Arc campaign, which was the first campaign to be added to the game. However, this building is present in the second mission, the Maid of Orleans, putting the cathedral about 500 kilometers away from its real-life counterpart, but that aside, it's a nice bit of eye candy. Since Charlemagne, King of the Franks, ordered the construction of Ark Cathedral, we can certainly see where Ensemble was coming from though. There's another clue to this in the first AoE2 press kit. This is a pack which contains graphic assets for magazines and websites to use in order to make promotional material for the game or put in their articles. It was published by Ensemble before the game was released. Now going into the web images folder, we can see something interesting. The image named Frank's Wonder is shown as the Ark Cathedral, and for the first time we see the Goths Wonder, shown as St. Vitus Cathedral. Sadly, there's no British wonder image in this pack, but there are some other really good ones, including this poster design, which I believe got printed in limited quantities, so let me know in the comments if you've got one of these laying around somewhere. This does, however, confirm the move away from having just 4 wonders in the game, to now having a unique wonder for each civilization. The St. Vitus Cathedral, however, doesn't make a huge amount of sense for the Goths. Although it's one of the most prominent cathedrals featuring Gothic architecture, that's about its only relation to the Goths as they are portrayed in AoE2. On the game's history pages, we see the Goths as being listed from 200 AD to 714 AD, while St. Vitus Cathedral started construction in 1344, only 700 years later. This building is quite anachronistic for the Goths, so when we load up the final beta of the game, right before release, it's no surprise that we see the Mausoleum of Theodoric as the Gothic wonder. With this addition, the Ensemble studio team had now created 13 unique wonder buildings, one for each civilization. But the St. Vitus Cathedral was no longer being used for the Goths, and the British and Franks still shared the Ark Cathedral. No doubt, with production deadlines pushing in and the mad rush to get the game finished on time, there was no time left to create a 14th wonder. So Ensemble Studios had to give St. Vitus to either the British or the Franks. Now we already know that Ark Cathedral would make a fitting wonder for the Franks, but then that would leave St. Vitus to the Brits, which would be very strange. Although medieval England did have Gothic influences in their buildings at the time, the typical English cathedral has a much more square and stocky look to it. There's not much that closely resembles St. Vitus laying around in the UK. However, France certainly does have a few cathedrals which share a similar architectural style. Chartres Cathedral, anyone? So Ensemble decided to bite the bullet and take the lesser evil, putting architectural accuracy before historical accuracy and ensuring that the look and feel of the game can be believable, even if they have to fudge the historic accuracy just a little bit. So, the Ark Cathedral was originally planned to be shared by the Britons and the Franks. But after Ensemble decided to give a unique wonder to each civ, they designed St. Vitus for the Goths. However, due to how wildly inaccurate this would have been, they designed the Mausoleum to be the Goth wonder instead. This left an unused St. Vitus Cathedral laying around, and rather than doing the extra work to design new assets, probably due to time pressure, Ensemble decided to give it to the Franks, so it would at least look fitting within the game. At least, that's Detective Empires' theory anyway, considering all of this happened 20 years ago now. What do you think? Mystery debunked? Let me know in a comment below, and don't forget to drop a like on this video, subscribe and hit the bell to make sure you're notified about my future uploads. Thanks for watching, I'll see you guys next time.